सभी को मेरा सादर प्रणाम। सरिया कॉलेज सरिया के IQAC द्वारा उच्च शिक्षा में आधुनिक शिक्षण विधियां विषय पर आयोजित 3 दिवसीय फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम के इस दूसरे दिन के कार्यक्रम के मुख्य वक्ता माननीय डॉक्टर सुमन कुमार बर्नवाल का इस वेब पटल पर मैं हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं। साथ ही इस ऑनलाइन कार्यक्रम में देश के विभिन्न राज्यों से जुड़े शिक्षक वृंद व दर्शकों का शरिया कॉलेज परिवार की ओर से मैं हार्दिक स्वागत व अभिनंदन करता हूं। माँ सरस्वती की वंदना के साथ ही आज का यह कार्यक्रम आरंभ होता है।
नमस्ते शारदे देवी सरस्वती मति प्रदे वसत्वं मम जीवाग्रे सर्वविद्या प्रदा भव।
नमस्ते शारदे देवी सरस्वती मति प्रदे वसत्वं मम जीवाग्रे सर्वविद्या प्रदा भव।
Methods and modern methods, they are both essential, and how far we are going to blend them, how far we are going to accept the new methods. Methods of teaching, they deal with how to teach. Generally we do master degree and we learn what to teach, but that tells that how to teach. If I am a teacher of management, if I am a teacher of geography subject, I must learn how to teach geography. So how to teach part is known as methodology, and we have the topic, the title of the topic is methodologies, modern methodologies. Methodologies refers to a group of methods. Generally, it is a common approach that what are the group of methods that we generally follow in teaching, they come under modern methodologies. Anyway, we are very acquainted with some traditional methods like lecture method, narration method, discussion method, chalk and talk method, and now it is very essential that we must learn, we must be acquainted with modern methods, new techniques of teaching. Because the traditional methods have their own merits, and as the time is changing, society is changing. Previously our system, education system was teacher dominated, teacher centered. In the entire system of education, teacher was in the central position. And by and by what happened? Our system of education became book centered. Book took the place. And now it is the need of the hour that we must be acquainted with student-centered education, student-centric education, learner-based education. We must mostly focus on the learning of the learners, how to maximize the learning, how to make the learning more interesting, more effective, more interesting. And for this reason, we have to learn different new methods. Whenever we are talking about traditional methods generally, they encourage rote memory. But our mind has different aspects, mind has different faculties. Besides memory, we have to develop our thinking skill, critical thinking skill. We have to develop our attitude, interest, creativity, imagination. All these abilities must be developed. That's why it is highly essential that we must learn, we must adapt the new methods, the new techniques. There are many changes, there are many researches, there are many updates in the field of teaching methods also. As we are the learners, once Rabindranath Tagore has told, unless a candle is burning itself, it cannot burn another candle. That refers that we must be learners at first, then we may be the teachers, we may teach. So learning and teaching, they will go simultaneously. Anyway, I'm not going to deal. I'm here to learn, to listen from the resource person. Coming to the resource person's part, we are very privileged. I'm honored to introduce Dr. Suman Kumar Bandwal sir. He is the pride of Sariya. Originally, he belongs to this region, and at present he is serving effectively and efficiently as the controller of examinations in Vinod Bihari Mahato, Koilanchal University, Dhanbad. Previously, this university was the part of Vinod University, Hazaribagh. And now it is a separate university, and Banwal sir is effectively doing his duties as the controller of examinations. And in the year 2013, he was awarded PhD in physics. Previously, later on, he joined. Previously he joined in the Naboda Institute of Technology, that is in Raichur, Karnataka. And he worked as HOD, as vice principal in that institute. And he has a number of publications, more than 10 research publications he had. And he has attended many national, international conferences, seminars. And basically, as the participant, as a learner, they are here listen to listen our resource person, Dr. Suman Kumar Banwal sir, and he has more than 20 years of teaching experience. Basically, he was working in engineering college, but now we are going to be benefited from his lecture, from his discussion, from his sharing. And formally, I just want to invite our principal sir, Dr. Santosh sir, so that he can introduce and he can welcome our resource person again. Santosh sir, please.
Good evening to all of you, my dear colleagues. Our resource person, Dr. Suman Kumar Barnwal, controller of examination, Vinod Bihari Mahato, Koilanchal University, Dhanbad. And formally, he has served so many institutions. And one of the leading institutions in India, the name is Malla Reddy College of Engineering and Technology, Secunderabad, which has got NAC accredited A. And he was the IQSC coordinator and also NAC steering committee member in that college. So, on the behalf of Sariya College Sariya, I welcome Dr. Suman Kumar Barwal for the second day of online faculty development program on modern teaching methodology in higher education. So, welcome to Dr. Suman. Please, Dr. Suman.
Yeah, namaskar and welcome, sir. Please continue, sir.
Thank you, Santosh ji. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a part of your 3-day workshop on modern teaching methodology in higher education. As Mr. Ravindra Kumar Mishra was telling you all that most of my education has been in Hyderabad, and I've got a total of 18 plus years of experience in engineering colleges as professor of physics. And I have been a part of NAC for many institutions in Hyderabad where we could successfully get a NAC A grade. And the teaching learning is one of the criteria in the NAC, which scores 350 out of 1,000 points. So you could understand the importance of teaching and learning process, why it is important, and we'll see why it is important and why now it is being in the limelight. Okay, so I'll give the presentation. So I'm going to the presentation right now, so you can just focus on. Once I finish the presentation, you can ask you if you have any queries and all. So if you permit, I'll take you all to the presentation.
Before deliberation of Suman sir, I request all the participants, please off your mic in your mobile. Please, I request you. Please cooperate with us. Thank you. Suman sir, please.
Yeah. Are you all able to see my screen? Hello?
No, sir.
Okay. I think I'm not able to share. Can you just see that I have given the permission from your side? I'm unable to share with you all. Because here the share button is not active. Okay, just a second. Yeah. Can you see it right now? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Please mute yourself.
as the principal of the college has already introduced me, this is Dr. Kumar Barnawal. I will be a professor of physics, and today I am going to present a talk on modern teaching methodologies in higher education. So, before I get into the actual topic, let's see how the education has been evolved in India. As we all know that the ancient Gurukul education system was one of the oldest education system in India. Later on, the method of teaching was called as teacher-centered method, then student-centered method, and the fourth one is interactive or participative method. We'll take this all one by one, and before I take it, I would like to take everybody's attention to one of the important history, which I think most of the people do not know. Just focus on the screen. He is Thomas Macaulay. He was a man who was sent by the Britishers, the Queen Victoria, from the Parliament of the Britain, to go to India and find out what is the best way to rule the nation. So when Thomas Macaulay
Excuse me, sir.
30s. Yeah. Are you
सर
able
आपकी आवाज गूंज रही है.
Okay.
ललन जी, आप अपने माइक को ऑफ कर दें प्लीज. आपसे
Just a second.
हमारे रिसोर्स पर्सन ऑनलाइन है. आप रिक्वेस्ट है कि माइक ऑफ.
Hello. Is that okay? I think अभी भी गूंज रहा है.
सुमन सर प्लीज.
Yes, sir.
सर वो माइक ऑन है किसी की, इसीलिए आवाज नहीं आ रही.
Is that okay? There is some problem. I think. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now it is okay. ठीक है, sir.
Audible now? Okay, right. So, as I was saying, there was a man called Thomas Macaulay. Many of us do not know about this history. It is one of the important history, and it's one of the, I got it from the Google after a lot of research. I am really very interested to share with this. If you read this, what it says. When Macaulay was sent by the British Queen, Queen Victoria, to India to find out the culture and education system of India, and actually the main reason behind sending Macaulay to India was to find out the way to go to and rule India. So when Macaulay visited across India and he made a report, and he went back to Britain, and he said this following lines, which you could see that in front of the British Queen, that I have travelled across the length and breadth of India, and have not seen one person who is a beggar, who is a thief. Such wealth I have seen in this country, such high moral values, people of such high caliber, that I do not think we would ever conquer this country unless we break the very backbone of this nation, which is her spiritual and cultural heritage, and therefore I propose that we replace her old and ancient education system, her culture, for if the Indians think that all that is foreign and English is good and greater than their own, they will lose their self-esteem, their native culture, and they will become what we want them, a truly dominated nation. So hopefully, after reading this, we could connect that he was so true when he said that, our ancient education system was really great. We still don't realize it. Whatever we feel today, like the Oxford University, the Cambridge University are the best university in the world, and what Indian universities are there are not up to mark. I think the Britain got successfully, that's the reason why the British could rule us, because we were weak mentally. We could not identify our own strength, and we could rely on those people, and you could see our future right now. We are still being so much influenced by the foreign culture and foreign education. But as you all know, the ancient Gurukul education system, as you can see the slide, how was this education system working basically? During the ancient times, during the Gurukul education system, the education was given to the students which was based on life skills. So the first one is the knowledge that the students used to acquire was based on the life, which is called life-related knowledge. The first point it is, and there was a lot of congenial connection between the teachers and the students. Teachers were gods to the students in those days, and that's why there is a Sanskrit slogan also there, टीचर माता पिता भगवान से भी ऊपर होते हैं, हम हमेशा बचपन से पढ़ते आए हैं, and this is what the association was there between the teachers and the students in those Gurukul education era. उसमें लाइफ स्किल्स के अलावा उनको सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी सिखाई जाती थी हर बच्चों को जो वहाँ पे पढ़ने आते थे, एंड दे वर ऑल्सो ट्रेन्ड इन वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग, लाइक जैसे अब बच्चों को फार्मिंग पसंद है तो फार्मिंग के बारे में सिखाना, और भी बहुत सारे वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग्स होते थे बच्चों के उस समय. ठीक है, तो ये सब हम अभी जैसे मॉडर्न टीचिंग मेथोडोलॉजी के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. आई विल कम बैक टू दिस एंशिएंट गुरुकुल सिस्टम. हम एक लाइफ साइकिल में जी रहे हैं जो कि पहले से चला आ रहा था. There are phases of life are there. We went to second phase, third phase, fourth phase, and I think we are again going back to the phase where we have left long back, the ancient phase. I personally feel the modern education system which we call today is not modern, but it is what we left during ancient times. We are again trying to get those back, those days back basically. So as I'll repeat it once again, the ancient Gurukul system has got 4 basic fundamentals in teaching. It was a life-related knowledge was given the most importance. There was a very close association between teachers and students. The students were, taught for being socially responsible, and they were also trained in vocational training. Now coming to my next slide here. Now, after ancient Gurukul system, the next, after a lot of industrialization, we were being, conquered by Mughals, we were being conquered by these Britishers. They ruled us for so many long years. Our country has passed through a lot of phenomenal changes. There was industrialization took place, and we all, the entire country were, were made like, we hardly had any money in the accounts of the country, of the nation. Once when you can go back to the slide and see that when Macaulay said that you don't find a beggar in India, now you could, after the independence, you could have imagined the situation of the people in India. So after industrialization, people started focusing on their, personal well-being rather than on the society well-being. So I think the teaching also took could able to adopt a culture where, you know, after doing certain work, what student should do, you know, it become more objective rather than subjective. Objective in the sense when you're learning something, what you're getting in terms of money. So teacher-centric method is that teacher teaches the students making, keeping in the mind that, see, if you learn this, you'll get tomorrow this, right? So teacher-centric method is a method where the student learns what teachers wanted and not the student's interest was being ever taken care of. So it is the most traditional or conventional approach over there. The teachers here, as I said already, functions in the familiar role of classroom lecturer, presenting information to the students who are expected to passively receive the knowledge being presented. तो इसमें क्या होता था टीचर सेंट्रिक मेथड में, वेदर बच्चे इच्छुक हैं पढ़ने के लिए या नहीं है, that was not the botheration. उसमें एक ही चीज था कि भाई एक कोर्स बना हुआ है and we need to finish the course at the right time. Okay, whether बच्चे वो लाइक करते हैं या नहीं करते हैं. तो this kind of teaching was very unidirectional. एक ही डायरेक्शन में जाता था, टीचर बोलते थे and the student has to listen whether they like it or not. Okay, and this is what actually is teacher-centric method. Then slowly we move to the next phase of learning called learner-centric method, and where the learner-centric method where the teacher teaches what students wanted. But again, there is a lot of ambiguity in this. There is a lot of I as a teacher personally feel that does it really happening these days? I still feel, you know, that the opinion could be different, but I personally feel we are still in the teacher-centric method we are working on, because when you call learner-centric method, what are the options that you're giving to the students are important. You know, whether it's a schooling or whether it's a graduation or post-graduation, how much options you give to the students to learn. You have hardly any number of electives which you can count on fingers, right? So do you really call this as a learner-centric method? So since, let's see, we'll go to the next level later. Let's see what it is. As I said already, this learner-centric method is basically, here the teacher teaches what students wanted. So instead of simply pouring information over the child's mind, the job of the learner-centric method is to, you know, present the student with an issue and guides the class as they build a solution. Engaging students, teaching problem-solving skills, getting students to think, allowing students to have control, and encouraging collaboration are all characteristics of learner-centric method. You know, when I read this and hear about learner-centric method, बहुत अच्छा लगता है सुन करके कि चलिए बच्चों को कुछ हम नया दे रहे हैं. But आप दिल पे हाथ रख के कभी फील करने की कोशिश करिए, क्या हम रियली कर रहे हैं ये? Because learner-centric method, अब मान लीजिए किसी क्लास में आपके 50 बच्चे हैं and you got 4 electives in the class, और 4 electives में there are 2 electives the majority number of students are selecting, and there is 1 elective where 1 student is selecting. So what do you say particularly to that student who the only student who selected an elective, that no beta, we don't have a teacher for this, so you please join your other friends. So obviously, you know, आप all is well करके बोल सकते हैं कि चलिए सब ठीक चल रहा है, but learner-centric method, I still, you know, doubt whether it's being really carried out, especially in India. We have to really work a lot. I have wrote a paper also on this called outcome-based education that I'll discuss with you all later in my slides. तो अब दूसरे slides में चलते हैं. Modern teaching methods क्या होता है? Now, after your teacher-centric method, learner-centric method, we have got a modern teaching method where, you know, it's a participative teaching learning concept. It is where Mr. Mishra was also saying that every teacher is a learner, right? हम teacher हैं इसका मतलब नहीं कि हमें सब कुछ आता है, you know. यदि कोई बच्चा सवाल पूछ सकता है किसी टॉपिक में, तो इसका मतलब है कुछ वो सोच सकता है, राइट? तो जब तक किसी भी स्टूडेंट एंड टीचर में वो क्वेश्चनिंग एबिलिटी है, तब तक वो लर्नर है, ठीक है? तो ये हम सब एक अच्छे टीचर के साथ साथ एक अच्छे लर्नर भी होना बहुत जरूरी होता है. तो in this interactive or participative teaching learning method, it's a modern teaching method which is based on the activity that you perform together with the students, and togetherly we learn. You know, you कोई भी teaching learning में बड़ा छोटा नहीं होता है. You always learn, you know, from each other. We always learn by sharing, whether, you know, the age doesn't matter here. ठीक है. तो modern teaching method and learner centric method is almost nearly same, I would say, but modern teaching method में क्या होता है, you use more of technology here, right? Where something like, you know, as I said, the modern teaching method में और भी बहुत कुछ चीजें आती हैं. जैसे आपको हो गया problem based learning, जहाँ पे students learn about a topic through solving problems. This allows for skill development such as knowledge acquisition, enhanced group collaboration and communication. Project based learning, students acquire a deeper knowledge through active exploration of real world challenges and problems, can extend over the whole semester and can be multidisciplinary. Simulations and role play, a form of experiential learning which can be very motivating, helping students to connect their learning to real world outcomes and to practice skills they will need in order to apply their knowledge. So these are some of the modern teaching techniques are there. So simulations का मतलब आपको मालूम होगा कि जो आप लैब में डायरेक्टली नहीं करते हैं, you do it in a computer, okay, and you perform the outcome of it, and then you go to the field and do that, right? Then you've got a work integrated learning. तो आपको work and plus learning दोनों integrate करके आप जब सीखते हैं कुछ, then you've got a flipped classroom models. You know that जिन्होंने भी NAC के लिए गया है, you must have heard this concept. It is an idea of getting students to learn content in their own time. जब वो free हैं तो वो browse कर सकते हैं, पढ़ सकते हैं उसके बारे में, and the same thing can be applied during the classroom discussion. Then group library activities हो सकता है, applicable to some particular subject area such as science. Nowadays it is in maths also there, arts also is there. Then peer review. This is one of the important, very important point, you know, in a modern teaching method where when you work in a group, you know, so you try to review each other's report, each other's concept, and give the feedback on those concepts. It will strengthen the concept that you are working for, you know. So this gives the professional judgment kind of a, you know, attitude the students particularly develops in that. You could have a debate as one of the concept of learning, you know, where you can speak for and speak against the topic. Then you have got a different competition that you can raise in a classroom. They can be run to make a quick activity to make a dry topic more interesting. There are some subjects where you know we have been as a student also felt that it's a very dry topic. Then you need to make interesting by creating some kind of a you know, interactive atmosphere by conducting some kind of a competition. It could be in the form of quiz, right? So these are some of the modern teaching techniques that we called so, right? Now after all these four types of teaching techniques which I've just told you, the first one, as I said, the Gurukula teaching concept was there. The teacher-centric method was there, the learner-centric method was there, the modern teaching method was there. There are a lot of things are there, you know, when I try to told you like the Gurukula concept of education and the modern concept of education. You know, these, don't you all think after going through that, the Gurukula education system, what we call today as a modern teaching method is not nothing but then it is as good as your Gurukula education system. Maybe you are adopting some information communication technology these days more. But yeah, as the outcome based education teaches you that you know what a student learn from a program once they complete it, or what a student learn once the course gets over, right? So I personally feel that today's modern education system is same as your earlier Gurukula education system. There is no difference at all. Our earlier education system was much more scientific than any phases of education system that we have all been passed through and we are seeing today, right? Now, going ahead to the next page here, as I said, modern education system also uses a lot of information and communication technologies. You've got a, internet is there, you've got a computer is there, you've got a lot of multimedia softwares are there where you can learn, right? Now, in this kind of pandemic situations also, you have got, virtual classrooms that you can create, just like now we are doing it through Google or Zoom. Yeah, so there are definitely some kind of a, positivity in modern techniques are there in terms of the technology that we use. But all other techniques that you see, as I said, in Gurukula system, you had a, life skill training used to be given. Okay, life skill based knowledge used to be given. Now the same thing today's education system also talks. Those who have gone for the NAC, they know the outcome-based education system. The NAC usually ask for, So the Gurukula education system used to provide this kind of education to their students in those days, which we are trying to, do it today, right? Now, before I basically go into the outcome-based education system, I would like to tell you the different credit system that works in India these days. I'm sure that you have not heard of the first point, which is called as semester-based credit system. I'll define what it is, but you have definitely heard of choice-based credit system. Everybody talk about, when somebody asked, what kind of a credit system works in your university, you say CBCS, right? But have you try to evaluate it? Does it really work in the universities of India? In fact, in one of the interaction with AICT chairman, Dr. Anil Shastrabudhe in Bangalore, I had asked the same question, sir. You say that we have got a CBCS system of education, but I hardly see that it is working. In fact, you should rename it to semester-based credit system instead of saying it as a choice-based credit system, because we hardly give any choice to the students. We have got, as I said earlier during the beginning of my talk, that we have got hardly 3 to 4 elective subjects, and we say that this is a CBCS kind of education system. You have got 4 subjects in hand where you ask the student, hey, you have whether you want A, B, C, or D. You are not keeping it open. Beta, what do you want? So, you could call the education system as choice-based credit system only when you have got a large number of choices that you can give to the student. It's an open choice you should give to the students. Yeah, and again, as I said also that there are a lot of practical problems to, follow the choice-based credit system in India. There are a lot of problems are there, But the idea of CBCS is really very good. It's really very good. The only thing is we have to really work hard to implement this choice-based credit system in India. But presently, I feel we are not, able to adopt the choice-based credit system. But we have adopted a system which should be called as SBCS, a semester-based credit system. Now, you could see the third point there, which is called cafeteria-based credit system. I think most of you may not have heard it. This is a credit system which, some of the private universities in India has adopted. Something like SRM University in Chennai, Bangalore. Then you've got a Vellore University, VIT University in Chennai. They have adopted a new education system called as a cafeteria-based credit system, where when you go to a cafeteria, what do you do basically? You don't have the cafeteria owner doesn't say that, sir, I have coffee, you please have this. No. What do? You ask for a menu. You go through the menu card and you see that, oh, I want this, I want that, I want that. This is what the cafeteria-based education system should be there. A student should be given a choice from a list, not 1, 2, 3, 4 points, but there should be, quite big large number of lists where the student can pick the area of interest and opt to study, and the student should be assessed on those paper which he has opted, because as we see all the students are not equally capable to learn the same subjects, right? Everybody are not good at everything. If as a common saying, in one of the movie says, you've got Three Idiots, right, where the hero says that if Sachin Tendulkar would have asked to sing, he could not become a Sachin Tendulkar then, right? If Lata Mangeshkar would have been asked to go and bat on ground, obviously she should not have become a Lata Mangeshkar then, right? So the choice has to be given to the students. But as I said, majburiyan hain hamare desh mein, and खासकर since I have been working as a controller of examination in BBMKU here, I have been really, really got hurt by seeing the number of teachers that are there in the colleges here. Horrible, you have got for every 500 students or 1000 students, there is one teacher. So could you really think that CBC is working? Or could really work in a state like Jharkhand and Bihar? I really don't think so. I have been from a state of Karnataka. I have worked for quite a long year there. I have worked in Andhra Pradesh today, which is called a Telangana in Hyderabad, where the student-teacher ratio was 1:15 and 1:20. If the choice-based credit system is not able to work there with that ratio of teacher and student, do you really think that it can work here? It looks good to talk about, but I personally feel there is lot work has to be done to make CBCS effective in India. There are a lot of challenges. Even if it is there, are the teachers really understanding what is CBCS system of education? They hardly know their regulations. They should understand, they should go through the regulations, what the regulations talk. They should discuss the regulations to the students. This is what is lagging here. Lagging here where I work and you work, basically. Until these challenges are not overcome, the CBCS system of education cannot be, implemented full-fledged. Okay, and as all you know, the CBCS system has got, in a bigger sense, it talks about the outcome-based education. The CBCS is an outcome-based education system. So let's focus on that and see where we are today in India. Now, have you heard of, before I go for the, your outcome-based education, have you heard of Bloom Taxonomy? I think those who've gone for the NAC, they must have definitely heard of Bloom Taxonomy. Actually, Bloom Taxonomy was derived some back in 1980s, or much before, where this Bloom Taxonomy assessed the students in different levels. Okay, so if a student doing certain course or certain program, he is or she is being, assessed in different levels. So these are the 6 levels of Bloom Taxonomy, where, the bottom level of program or course is remember. When you learn something, the first thing that you do is you remember those things. आप याद करते हैं, ठीक है? आप याद करते हैं. Then the second stage that goes is you try to understand जो आपने पढ़ा है, जो आपने याद किया है. So bottom phase is your remembering, then understanding, and once you understand, you implement it, you apply to your activity, right? So remember, understand, apply, and once you apply, you analyze whether the thing which you have implemented is working well or not. So you analyze. Once you analyze, you try to evaluate how effectively it is working, right? And once you evaluate, you create, right? So these are the 6 different levels of learnings are there. So sabhi bacche, as I said again and again, those that work for NAC, though they know what Bloom Taxonomy is and how it works, right? तो सभी बच्चे creating level पे नहीं रहते हैं, right? 10 या 60 बच्चे हैं, you have to classify those students. CBCS system says that you have to classify the students in this 6 category. कोई भी बच्चा क्रिएटिव लेवल पे आपको नहीं मिलेगा, राइट? तो आपको क्रिएटिव लेवल पे ले जाने के लिए you have to work from the very first year. तो do you think CBSE system is so easy to work? यदि हम effectively work करें, to all my colleagues here, friends here, यदि हम सही से काम करें, तो I think, we don't have to depend on anybody. You will have creators moving around on roads, right? तो ये जो remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate and create levels हैं, इसमें यदि आप very first year से बच्चों को try to segregate करना कर देते हैं, तो शायद वो next level में, यदि बच्चा first year में वो understanding level तक है, तो next year में वो apply level तक जा सकता है, और यदि next year तक apply level तक है, तो उसके आगे analyze, evaluate और creating level पे जा सकता है. So this is how the students are evaluated under OBE, outcome based education, which is a part of your modern teaching methods and all that. Got it? क्योंकि टीचर सेंट्रिक मेथड में हमको एक ही चीज मालूम था, आउटकम बेस्ड एजुकेशन तभी हुआ करता था, बट उसमें एक ही चीज मालूम था, बच्चा पढ़ता है तो उसको जॉब मिलना चाहिए, he should earn his bread and butter. क्योंकि उस समय सिनेरियो कुछ और था, उस समय हमारी आर्थिक स्थिति देश की उतनी मजबूत नहीं थी कि सबको ब्रेड एंड बटर या जॉब प्रोवाइड किया जा सके, सबको अपना फार्मिंग के थ्रू पेट भरना पड़ता था. इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन हुआ था लेकिन उतना लेवल पे नहीं हुआ था, तो उस समय टीचर सेंट्रिक मेथड वाज मैंडेटरी, वो हमारा मतलब कहते हैं मजबूरी था उस समय का. नाउ we could stand on our own feet, the economy of the nation has improved, we went to learner centric method. ठीक है, तो हम सोचने लगे कि नहीं, बच्चों को भी वो पढ़ाना चाहिए जिसमें उनको इंटरेस्ट हो, पर अभी भी कितने लोग हैं वो, हम अपने घर में ही एग्जाम्पल देख सकते हैं कि हम बच्चों को वही कराना चाहते हैं, इंजीनियरिंग या डॉक्टर या फिर IAS बनाना है, भाई और तो कुछ हो नहीं सकता. ठीक है, तो लर्नर सेंट्रिक मेथड आपके घर में ही नहीं है, तो आप कॉलेजेस में कैसे अप्लाई करेंगे? सो द माइंडसेट ऑफ द इंडिविजुअल हैज टू बी चेंज्ड, राइट? एवरीबॉडी आर नॉट इक्वल अगेन, एज आई सेड. You have to evaluate those people. You have to evaluate on these 6 standards. बच्चे का फर्स्ट लेवल कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ, आप उनको क्रिएटिव लेवल पे लेके जाते हैं, इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल. So you have to evaluate on all this. Your internal assessments, your external assessment does all these 6 level of jobs. ठीक है? So we'll go to the next one, as I said already. Now, as I said, outcome based education, right? Outcome based education became mandatory for all of us because India has signed an Washington Accord in 2014, under which outcome based education model was adopted by India. देख रहे हैं, हमारी डिपेंडेंसी देखिए या मजबूरी देखिए कि हम ऐसे सिस्टम में मतलब एक OBE का मॉडल लेके आ रहे हैं जो कि मेरे ख्याल से हमारे एंशिएंट टाइम से ऑलरेडी था, बट नो, it has been done by America, तो definitely कुछ अच्छा होगा, so अच्छा तो है, definitely अच्छा है, but we have not learned from our own experiences. We look to foreign made things, right? So let's get into the OBE model here. As I said, outcome based education model measures the process of the graduate in 3 parameters, as I said already: program educational objectives, program outcomes and course outcomes. Again, I'm saying it is all a part of your modern teaching methodologies, right? Now, what is program educational objectives? अभी एक program आप कर रहे हैं. It could be engineering as a program. It could be your doctor MBBS as a program. Your B.Ed Bachelor of Education as a program. UG PG could be a program, right? तो आप एक program educational objectives क्या रहता है? These are the set of statements. It has been made by UGC or by the respective affiliating body, the university I'm talking. If it is not given by the university, then you have to make at the institution level this program educational objectives. Usually it is made by the university or the UGC basically. So you have to take those points and you have to put on the notice board कि भाई आखिर हम एक प्रोग्राम पढ़ रहे हैं तो उसका ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है. ठीक है, लेकिन सबसे बुरी बात है कि इसमें से कितने पहले टीचर्स को मालूम होता है कि भाई ये प्रोग्राम तो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन क्यों कर रहे हैं मालूम नहीं. So these things has to be brought into the notice of the students, or it should be made a part of your curriculum. इसमें definitely at least you could do as a orientation program for the students and teachers both, right? Now program with educational objectives are the set of statements which tells you कि इसको इसमें आप क्या क्या पढ़ने वाले हैं, इस प्रोग्राम के तहत आप क्या क्या पढ़ने वाले हैं, इसको करने के बाद आपके क्या क्या करियर अकम्प्लिशमेंट्स रहेंगे, प्रोफेशनल अकम्प्लिशमेंट्स रहेंगे. ठीक है, दिस व्हाट PEO says. Now next comes is program outcomes. Now program outcomes are again a narrower statements which says that कि यदि आप ये प्रोग्राम करते हैं तो उसका आउटकम क्या है. मैं बीएड कर लेता हूं लेकिन मुझे मालूम नहीं पता नहीं कि भाई ये बीएड तो कर लिया लेकिन इसके बाद क्या, राइट? मैंने इंजीनियरिंग कर लिया, बट व्हाट इज द आउटकम ऑफ डूइंग माय इंजीनियरिंग इन इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स कम्युनिकेशन इंजीनियरिंग और कंप्यूटर साइंस इंजीनियरिंग. सो दीज आर द स्टेटमेंट्स टेल्स यू कि भाई ये प्रोग्राम करते हैं तो आप ये सीखते हैं, राइट? और आप ये बनते हैं सीख करके, राइट? दिस इज कॉल्ड प्रोग्राम आउटकम्स. नाउ द फाइनल वन इज द कोर्स आउटकम. Course outcome is a subject outcome. It is basically in a undergraduate course, say for example, if it's a physics honors you are working on, right? So physics honors may have a physics paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4, right? So this paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4 and so on becomes the courses in a program, right? Now हर एक कोर्स का आउटकम रहेगा. अब मैं फिजिक्स पढ़ रहा हूं as a paper 1, say for example I do in optics, right? तो ये ऑप्टिक्स का कोर्स करके मुझे क्या आउटकम है, व्हाट आई एम लर्निंग फाइनली, राइट? सो दिस ऑल थिंग हैज टू बी ब्रॉट इनटू द नोटिस ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स. जैसे आप क्लासरूम जा रहे हैं, ठीक है, आप एक चैप्टर पढ़ा रहे हैं, राइट? यू आर टीचिंग ऑन मैग्नेटिज्म फॉर एग्जांपल. तो ये मैग्नेटिज्म चैप्टर पढ़ा रहे हैं, तो मैग्नेटिज्म से वो बच्चा क्या सीख रहा है, आखिर आउटकम क्या है चैप्टर का पढ़ करके, दैट यू हैव टू टेल टू द स्टूडेंट्स much before starting the chapter. You get that? यदि हम इस तरह पढ़ाएंगे तो as I said कि कहीं भी कोई बच्चा ना फेल होगा एंड कभी भी उनकी इंटरेस्ट जो है सब्जेक्ट में खत्म नहीं होगा. ठीक है, तो until we are not telling the significance of the course and the programs to the students will never be able to connect to the courses and the programs that you have brought for them. ठीक है, तो confidence built up and जो interest create करना है students में, it could be done only by that. So you have to definitely tell about the significance of the courses and the programs that you are teaching in the classroom, right? So this is all I have. There are a lot of other things are there. Actually, you know, I would also tell the principal of the Sariya College, if they have worked in the outcome-based education, actually this is a ocean. You know, there are a lot of things that has to be worked, that has to be, analysis has to be done for each of the students. It's a big exercise basically, where if they need help, I could definitely come time to their place and do this thing for them. I could teach their teachers, I could so that they could apply into their day-to-day activities, right? So for me, I've completed my presentation. Hopefully you have liked. You may have liked it. Hope so. Yeah. Thank you all.
Sir, may I have one question asking you? Myself named Dr. Sripat Gaikwad, Jalna from Maharashtra.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Sir, my question is what do you mean by citation?
Citation?
Citation.
Yeah, a citation for research you are talking, right?
Yes, sir.
See, citation is basically, you have got a paper, right?
Yeah.
You have got a paper, you have wrote an article, research article, and your article, how many people have cited you, in the sense have given the reference in their papers?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Cited is nothing but a reference, basically.
Yes.
If as a Suman Kumar here, you are working on magnetism, I have seen your paper, I liked your paper, I will take certain point from your paper, then I'll cite your paper in my reference. right? So that's how the citations are counted basically.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Hearty thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, actually, almost everything is clear, and there is no such question from the
Thanks.
on behalf of participants. If anybody has any query, he or she may ask. Otherwise, I am just going to repeat some of the main points that sir has highlighted. Okay. Sir has started the concept of modern methodology of teaching from the historic perspective. You must understand our history of education in India, how the Vedic system, the Gurukul system was changed, how the Britishers tried to force a new system. They want to enslave us. They want to change our mindset. जैसे सर बता रहे थे कि हमारे मन में जो आत्मविश्वास था, उन्होंने आत्मविश्वास को पहले तोड़ा, आत्मबल को उन्होंने तोड़ा. तो वो चीज को हमें समझना है.
Excuse me, sir. There are some queries people are writing on here. That the COPO mapping.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, sir. You continue.
Course outcome and program outcome mapping.
Yes, sir.
So there is Mrs. Srivastava was there. So I'd like to say that COPO mapping is basically, as I defined already, the program outcomes are the set of statements given by your affiliating body, the affiliating university basically, or you can find out in the UGC guidelines also. And the course outcomes are given by either the affiliating body, or you can prepare your own course outcomes. And when I say your own course outcome means you have to, you have to have a expertise in the subject. You could have a group of expertise in the subject, in the panel, where you can prepare those course outcomes and then try to map. When I say mapping of course outcomes to the program outcomes, it's basically you have to read throughout the statements properly and see which statements is coinciding with the course outcomes, and that is how the mapping is done. And for every mapping there is a point 1, 2, 4 will be there that you have to give there, right? So this is basically until somebody give you a presentation on how mapping is done. Orally it's difficult to tell you how it is done, but again, as I said, you need an expertise in the subject, and you need a group in that subject basically who could plan this CO and PO mapping. As I said, if somebody can arrange a seminar someday on COPO mapping, I could be, happy to help you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir, you have elaborately discussed many points. You started from Gurukul system. You told about how life-centered the system was. It was providing vocational information, vocational guidance. Now we are talking about participative learning, activity-based learning, simulation, flipped classroom, debate, seminar, quiz, competitions, everything. Now we want to implement ICT in teaching and learning. As Corona has forced us, we are moving towards virtual teaching learning methods. And you have elaborately explained us how CBCS is working in our country and how it is turned to semester-based system. And one thing you also highlighted, that is Bloom's taxonomy. As we are teachers, we must learn what are the objectives of teaching and what are the three domains: cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. And sir has already discussed knowledge, understanding, analysis, your synthesis, evaluation, creating. All these steps are there in the process of learning. We must understand, we must learn. And the most essential thing, that is, we must know what is our goal of the course, of the program. If I am entering a class, what is my purpose? I must be very clear about that. Unless and until I am goal oriented, I cannot achieve anything. So the teacher must be very clear about the objectives of the course, the objectives of the program, and the objectives of each and every lesson. And the basic thing, just I want to request all that we should be very humble. We should always be ready to learn. there should not be any sense of pride that I am just a PhD degree holder. I have completed UGC NET and I am the associate professor and everything. I have nothing to learn. This type of mindset will ruin everything. Always you should be ready to learn, to accept new ideas. Let the noble thoughts come from every side. Wherever we are getting the chance, we may learn from even juniors, even our friends, even from teachers, even from everybody. Even a beggar, even a villager can teach many things. So we should be ever ready to learn. Our life should be full of experiences. We should be always hopeful to learn. एंड सर आपको सर विशेष रूप से हम लोग धन्यवाद देना चाहेंगे सर। आपने हम लोग का इनविटेशन को स्वीकार किया और आपने बहुत सारे अच्छे बातें हमें शेयर करके बताए। आपका तो बहुत सारा अनुभव है, इसलिए हमारे महाविद्यालय परिवार विशेष करके आपको धन्यवाद देना चाहता है सर। और आप इस क्षेत्र से जुड़े हुए सर, इसलिए हम लोग चाहेंगे कि आप थोड़ा हमें भविष्य में भी मार्गदर्शन करेंगे।
मेरे लिए अच्छी बात थी कि लाल जी जब मुझे कॉल किए तो खुद सरिया का रह करके मैं उनका रिक्वेस्ट नहीं मानता तो मुझे खुद बहुत खराब लगता है।
जी सर, जी सर, जी सर।
तो आई रियली इट वाज अ प्रिविलेज, यू नो, प्लेजर बीइंग अ पार्ट ऑफ सरिया कॉलेज। मुझे अच्छा लगा कि मैं कुछ कंट्रीब्यूट कर सका आप लोगों के लिए। And definitely happy to contribute you in the future also, because I have got a NAC I work as a NAC consultant also and I have got a association in India. My NAC consultant work as a golden feather consultant. Okay, so I have worked as that. For last 4 colleges we got a NAC A grade and we have got a UGC autonomous for 3 colleges there. Okay, so if any kind of help that you require, you can please ring me. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, you are the pride of this area, sir. And basically, you are the role model, sir, for many students and many teachers also. Last sir, yesterday, our VC, sir, Professor Dr. Mukul Naran Singh Dev, and he was from a village, and he was the scientist in
Banka village.
Yes, in Bankagaon, actually. And being the son of a farmer, he is the pride of this area, and he is also the role model. And on behalf of the participants, on behalf of our organizer team, on behalf of Sariya College, IQSC, I again thank you, sir, and I welcome, and I hope that you may continue your cooperation for our development.
No, it's my pleasure. That's what I'm saying. I'm always there to help you all.
Sir has assured us that he will operate in future. Sir has assured.
Definitely. There is no second thought.
Welcome, sir. Welcome here.
Sir, आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर।
Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
सर आप सर बहुत सारे अच्छे कमेंट्स आ रहे हैं सर, आप देख सकते हैं।
Thank you, sir.
बहुत लोग बहुत चीज नया चीज जान रहे हैं, शेयर कर रहे हैं, सीख रहे हैं। सर आप सर उस्मान यूनिवर्सिटी प्रोडक्ट हम भी सर पिछले साल एक रिफ्रेशर कोर्स वहीं से किए थे।
ओके, ग्रेट।
जी सर।
चलिए, बहुत अच्छे। आते हैं कभी सरिया कॉलेज।
जी सर,
स्वागत है आपका, जरूर आइए। और नाउ दिस इज द एंड मोमेंट ऑफ दिस 3-day online workshop, faculty development program. Now we conclude this session of second day. Thanks to our resource person and all of the participants, our teaching and non-teaching staff. Thank you to all.
And very special thank to all the participants. धन्यवाद सभी को, धन्यवाद। नमस्कार।
सभी को धन्यवाद। आज का फीडबैक लिंक जो है सो चैट बॉक्स में दे दिया गया है। सभी प्रतिभागी अपना फीडबैक फॉर्म भर लें। और जिन किन्हीं का फीडबैक कल का फीडबैक छूट गया था, कृपया वे चिंतित ना हो। तो आज और कल का जो प्रोग्राम होना बाकी है उस दिन का फीडबैक जरूर भरें और कार्यक्रम में शामिल हो। कल का सत्र, खासकर कल का सत्र जो होने वाला था उसके लिए रिसोर्स पर्सन कोई और थे, लेकिन किसी कारणवश जो है सो कार्यक्रम में कुछ परिवर्तन किया गया है। कल के रिसोर्स पर्सन
के रूप में कल
एक्चुअली प्रमोद जी आज के रिसोर्स पर्सन थे डॉक्टर विमल कुमार मिश्र, प्रिंसिपल मार्कम कॉलेज ऑफ कॉमर्स एंड प्रोफेसर ऑफ बीआईटी मेसरा, बट ड्यू टू हिज फीवर एंड कोल्ड प्रॉब्लम he has refused to join with us, so I called Dr. Suman Kumar Banwal for today's session, and for tomorrow's session we will call Dr. Tapos Ghosal, a renowned professor of West Bengal. We will collaborate with him in tomorrow. Thank you, all of you.
धन्यवाद सभी को।